Hello and welcome to the Everything is Black and White podcast. Andrew Musgrave here. Hope you guys are doing well. Give the video a thumbs up and please hit subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for tuning in and thank you for your support. It is much appreciated. Quick little video today following the news that Lewis Hall has been called up to the England squad. His first call up, and he's likely to earn his first cap in the games against Greece and the Republic of Ireland in the Nations League following Newcastle's game against Nottingham Forest on Sunday. It is absolutely tremendous news for Lewis Hall, just 20 years of age. And I think, off the top of my head, he might be the youngest ever Newcastle United player to earn a call-up to the senior squad. I've done a little bit of looking around. I can't see anyone younger than 20. Let me know in the comments if you know the answer, if I'm wrong, if I'm right. But I think I might be correct in saying that. It's a brilliant achievement for a man so young who's going to be around for a long, long time. This is Lee Carsey's final squad before he's replaced by Thomas Tuchel in the new year. And it's a real opportunity for Lewis Hall to strike his claim on this position because England have not got any other left backs really when you look at it. You know, the other options can't get a game or are injured, and there's not an out-and-out left back which you think can outdo Lewis Hall right now. Lewis Hall has been in tremendous form. He's got better every single week of this campaign. And the players who could be in that squad, like I say, can't get a look in for their own team or can't get off the physio's bench. So this is really his position to lose. We're talking there about Ben Chilwell, who hasn't been in a single Premier League squad for Chelsea this campaign. At the age of 27, his career has hit something of a stop. It's a real disappointment for him. You know, he's a tremendous player, but Enzo Maresca just does not fancy him. He's played just once in the EFL Cup, and he's just been outcast really at Chelsea. So he'll probably be looking for a move in January. The other man is Luke Shaw, who hasn't played for Manchester United for 260 days. A little bit bizarre that. Even more bizarre when you consider he has played 3 times for England since then, of course, in the Euros. He was called up, wasn't even half fit. You know, he ended up playing 3 times, coming in for Kieran Trippier, who had filled in at left back. And what it did was just reaffirm the lack of options that England have at left back. They haven't got any. And even towards the end of last season, when Lewis Hall was getting opportunities at Newcastle United, and he wasn't blowing anyone away, he wasn't pulling up any trees, there was even talk from some that he could sneak into Gareth Southgate's Euro squad, which would have been a little bit bizarre, a little bit undeserved. It didn't happen in the end, but it certainly just reaffirmed the issues Gareth Southgate had at left back. And now that's why Lewis Hall has been called up. But it's not just about the lack of options. He's been called up because he's earned it. He's there on merit. And I think what we've seen this season, we've seen progression of Lewis Hall, and it's been wonderful to see. I think at the start of the season, he was in a bit of a battle with Lloyd Kelly for left back. Now there's no question who Newcastle's number 1 left back is. It's Lewis Hall. What we've also seen is there was lots of concerns, and I think very warranted concerns about his defensive capabilities. He was getting caught out from the runners, the ball over the top. You know, was he ready for a prolonged stay in the Newcastle United team at left back? And what we've seen over recent weeks and over recent months is that progression to a better defensive player. And Lewis Hall has got his head down. He's working so hard. Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall working with him, working their magic. And every single week, we are just seeing an improvement in his game. And the last few weeks especially, he's been absolutely superb. And none more so than that game against Arsenal, where he kept Saka quiet throughout the game. One of the best wingers in the Premier League, was in the back pocket of Newcastle United's 20-year-old left back. And what a way to round up the week with this news of an England call-up and hopefully another stellar performance against Forest on Sunday, where he's going to be tested because he's likely to face Anthony Elanga, who is in great form at the moment. Forest flying high. They're full of confidence. That's going to be a very, very interesting battle, but I'm backing Lewis Hall to win that battle. Like I say, he's earned this. He's been absolutely brilliant. Alan Shearer called this last week after the Arsenal game. He said that Lewis isn't just knocking on the door, he's banging on the door of the senior team. I watched him closely at the weekend, and he had a fantastic game against Bukayo Saka, one of the best players in the Premier League, and Arsenal's danger man. And then we've spoken there about consistency. Well, Lee Cars, he's spoken after announcing his squad, and he's spoken about that consistency that Lewis Hall has provided over the last few weeks, over the last few months, really this campaign. He said Lewis is a player who's taken his time to settle in. He's high quality, left-footed, and a player who deserves to be in, and has shown he can really be consistent, and he has done, and it's been tremendous. And also a word on that, taking his time to settle in. Well, Eddie Howe has been very, very precise with his conduct when it comes to Lewis Hall. He's bedded him in, and last season, many of you guys, like myself, were maybe questioning that approach. There were times last season when Dan Burn was getting turned inside out at left back, and it seemed like the right time to introduce Lewis Hall to the first team. And Eddie Howe was just patient. He wasn't going to rush him. Plenty of questions, like I say, but my goodness me, he looks like he's been proved right. And the doubters and the critics, and I count myself on that, have been proved so wrong, because Eddie's careful and patient approach has led to Lewis Hall getting a call up at the age of 20 and looking like a seasoned left back in the Premier League. Anyone going to argue with me? He looks he looks like someone's been doing it years. He really does. And we don't want to overhype him because it's only 10 games in. It's a long season. Anything could happen. But what we have seen in 13 appearances so far this season is a man who looks like he's got a huge future ahead of him, not only at England, but also, of course, at Newcastle. And it's absolutely tremendous. He's earned it. So happy for him. Congratulations to Lewis Hall. And it's a big opportunity. It's his to lose now, in my opinion, because Ben Chilwell's not going to get a look in. He's going to have a move in January. Luke Shaw's had a setback to his injury, so he's not going to appear for England in goodness knows how long. He's not going to appear for Manchester United, it appears, for ages either. You've got Rico Lewis in that squad, but he's only played once this season at left back for Man City. You haven't got anyone else there who can play left back, and you haven't got an out-and-out left back, right back, Kyle Walker, Trent Alexander-Arnold, but them are going to play at left back. It's Lewis Hall's to lose, and he's earned this opportunity, and now he's going to take it. He's taken it in Newcastle United. He's made that position his to lose, and now this is his to lose. And I am backing him to perform really well in the next two games for England and impress Thomas Tuchel, who will no doubt be watching, and impress him. And then he'll follow up that form leading into the new year for the next England squad sometime in 2025. The rest of the England squad, well, no Tino Livramento, which has surprised a few. I'm not that surprised, to be quite honest with you. You look at the options that England have at right back. I've mentioned them there, Alexander-Arnold and Kyle Walker. Tino Livramento is not getting ahead of either of them, the two most talented, the best two right backs in the Premier League at this current time. He's not going to get ahead of them in the England squad. He played tremendous against Arsenal. He was my man of the match. He kept Martinelli quiet. But look, he hasn't had as good as a season as Lewis Hall. I think he's struggled at times against Chelsea. He wasn't. That's the defeat at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. He got caught out for the first goal, didn't he? And I think he has struggled at times this season against Arsenal. He was fantastic, but it's about that consistency. That's what Carsley is after. We've seen him drop out the side for Kieran Trippier at times. So I think there's a long way to go for Tino Livramento. He's, for me, Newcastle's number one right back, even when Trippier's fit. That game against Arsenal would have done him wonders, and I think he'll be relishing the opportunity to go up against Hudson-Odoi on Sunday against Nottingham Forest, because once you've kept one great winger quiet, surely you want the next test to come thick and fast to continue that, to build on that momentum. So I think he'll be looking forward to that, and he'll just be getting his head down and working hard for the next England squad. And look, 6 months' time, he has time. I think if he continues to perform in the way he did against Arsenal, then he'll certainly be in the England squad the first time of asking. The last time around, he was called up to the under 21s. Then he came into the senior squad, didn't get any minutes. He came in because of a dropout. But I think the next squad under Tuchel, really good opportunity for Livramento to be in there at the first time of asking. The big surprise probably is no Nick Pope. Look, against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, he made the mistake against Cole Palmer. Probably should have stopped the shot. His distribution isn't great, but we know this. This is going over old ground. What he is great at, he's a fantastic shot stopper for me. He's probably the best shot stopper in the Premier League. I thought against Arsenal, it was a really big game for him because in the League Cup against Chelsea a few days before, he looked shaky every time the ball was up in the air. But against Arsenal, they were cross after cross after cross. And he came out and he claimed them, or he punched them the way he was really dominating his box. And I felt it was a big game for him just to get that confidence back in. And I am surprised that he hasn't been called up to this squad. I'm even more surprised that it's come in. Aaron Ramsdale's got his place. I don't see that. You know, Southampton conceding goals. He's made a few mistakes in recent games. When he looks back on goals he's conceded, goals he should have kept out. Little bit surprised at that. Obviously, Jordan Pickford is number one, so it's not like Nick Pope would go in and play. But yeah, I really thought he would be in that squad. So I'm a little bit surprised at that. But anyway, it means he can have a nice rest after the game against Nottingham Forest and get ready for that game against West Ham on the 25th of November, which comes, of course, after the 2-week break. This episode is brought to you by NORD VPN. All the details in the podcast description box. Click on it, get an exclusive discount offer on your NORD VPN subscription. It is well worth getting in. Keep yourself protected when using public Wi-Fi. I use it myself, and I recommend you get it. The rest of the squad, are there any shocks and surprises in it? Not really. Not that I can see. I mean, maybe Jack Grealish is one. Is a bit of a shock, but the rest of it, I think you expect everyone else to be in. I mean, of course, Anthony Gordon is in it because he's been really good for Newcastle, especially since signing that new deal. He's looking like he's getting back to his best. He was tremendous against Arsenal, fantastic assist for the Isak goal. He just looks like that danger man of last season where he's running with the ball, he's frightening defenders, he's got that work rate. We just need to see goals added to his game again, but he certainly looked like he's getting back to the levels of last season, and he'll probably play from the start, you would think, against Greece or the Republic of Ireland, and he's deserved that as well. But the rest of it, I mean, there's no one that I look in this squad and think they don't deserve to be in there, and there's no one I can think off the top of my head who's really missed out and can feel hard done by, other than, like I say, Nick Pope. But let me know what you think of the squad. Is there anyone that's missed out that you think should be in there? This is obviously, like we say, Lee Clowes's last couple of games for England before Thomas Tuchel comes in. So obviously the German will be watching the game and no doubt making notes on who's impressing and who is not. But like I say, I don't think there's anyone who's really missed out, but I could be wrong. But anyway, let me know what you think. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed it. Give the video a thumbs up. Hit subscribe on the channel. Congratulations to Lewis Hall. Thoroughly deserved England call-up, and fingers crossed we get to see him in at least one of these games against Greece and the Republic of Ireland.